version, self-version 7.0, looking at life through the eyes of a tired owl. Eating seeds is a pastime activity. The toxicity of our city, Yo, what do you own the world? How do you own disorder? Disorder. No, somewhere between the sacred and silence and sleep. Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Disorder. Cause disorder, become ungovernable. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the place where we set oppression ablaze, y'all. Oppression has set up shop down the street, right in our nation's capital. And we've got a lot of shit to discuss. We've got a lot of things to get into because as President Donald Trump does his damnedest, and this is a good one to his credit, Trump. I see what you did here. As Donald Trump tries his damnedest to distract the nation and the world from the fact that he is obviously complicit in a global pedophile ring and has had very close associations with convicted child sex traffickers and himself likely a participant in said child sex trafficking. And if he ain't part of the child sex trafficking pedophile ring that his all his homies was down with, nigga, release the Epstein files. But Trump said, no, I won't release the Epstein files. How about I declare in effect martial law on the streets of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital? And as you guys know, DC has been dealing, especially the Black community in Washington, DC, has been dealing with over policing, dealing with poverty, dealing with a ineffective Democratic-led local governance headed up by Mayor Muriel Bowser, a Black woman. The DC City Council also majority Democrats hold those seats on the DC City Council. And in spite all of the bending over and in spite of, I would say capitulation, but Kamau K. Franklin this morning on the Remix Morning Show on Black Liberation Media, to clarify the point. No, Mayor Bowser and the DC City Council are not capitulating with this Trump agenda to further militarize the streets of Washington, D.C. Quite the contrary. Mayor Bowser said today, after meeting with Attorney General Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice, Mayor Bowser got on TV and said with a straight fucking face, she's happy to have the help. This is an opportunity for the district and its federal partners to coordinate resources in order to address the criminal issues that happen in the city. Meanwhile, DC is literally throwing people off its city-provided Medicaid system. In addition to the federal system being slashed with funding, education continues to get slashed. And yet these people simply want to continue to point the finger at primarily district residents, but more specifically, children in DC, teenagers. This comes after the alleged beating, and I say alleged because, again, I'm not convinced that little brother, little balls actually got walloped in the way that he did, but he certainly didn't get beat within an inch of his life, as is alleged by Donald Trump. In fact, he just got his nose popped open a little bit. And to be clear, for some of the violent crime that has occurred in Washington, D.C., I would adamantly agree that would be on the lower end. There is a violence issue in Washington. That's because there happens to be a poverty issue in Washington. That is because there happens to be an over-policing problem in Washington. And all of the things that Trump is alleging need immediate federal correction could be absolutely solved via social policies and not the heavy-handed crackdown of the federalization of the nation's capital, again, of which Black people will primarily be the targets of. And we're going to check out some clips filmed by district residents giving us, sort of a bird's eye, or rather a first person perspective of what city residents are experiencing already. Today is Tuesday, August 12th. Trump made his announcement about the so-called Liberation Day, and trust me, I throw up in my mouth every time, and I won't be referencing it as such going forward, but he designated it that day on Monday, August the 11th, and immediately the swelled presence of federal officers in district neighborhoods was felt immediately. And while many took notice of the increased presence, oh, by the way, 800 DC National Guards people have been called up. Yes, they have been seen assembling and getting in formation down at the DC Armory in proximity to the RFK Stadium site. But DC residents saw the surge immediately. And while many could say, and they would be accurate in saying this, that this is the kind of police harassment and brutality that some district residents, especially in certain parts of the city, experience on a regular basis. But I'm telling you, even by the tone of the folks that took these videos, something is different, and it feels different, and it's a noticeable difference, and it's a noticeable shift, y'all. Like, I almost feel like what happened on August 11th, Trump's whatever the fuck, a line in the sand has been drawn. And I know folks in Los Angeles and Portland and the like will be like, what about us? We've been saying this, that we've been undergoing these ICE sieges for almost 2 months now, or over 2 months. Anyway, I'm going to come back to all that. I want us to take a look at what residents are experiencing firsthand on the ground. So let me give you a little bit of a primer. So we are going to see the motherfucking National Guard down at, I think, like I said, the DC Armory. We're going to see young kids, young Black kids, late teens, early 20s. I don't know how old they are, but they're young. You're going to see them getting harassed by the FBI. And I want to be clear here. So this is going to be a mix of videos, y'all. To be, when I say a mix, I mean a mix of tone. I'm going to get to them real quick. I know I have a tendency to sometimes over preference. It's because I just want to be clear. I just want us to be clear about what we're going to see. Some of these are indeed serious. We're seeing people taken literally off the street in some instances. But I also wanted to be clear here. As much as of a social crisis, as I think it's fair to call this, you need to know that Black people in Washington, D.C. and in the surrounding D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area are the funniest niggas on earth. Okay, like I need to preface that. New York niggas is funny. Some Cali niggas is funny. I have a bias here. DC niggas are the funniest niggas to ever be born, okay? And whilst the brutalization, well, more so harassment in these clips, while the harassment is happening, oh, the people them is clowning the fuck out of these police, okay? You're going to hear some of these cops just flat out get roasted. And whereas that may not keep you out of jail when shit hits the fan, I want you to know that Black people and Black Washingtonians in particular definitely use humor as a weapon. Okay, we know that we can out-Joan anybody. Okay, and we will hurt feelings. Okay, trust me, I've had my feelings deeply hurt. My folks joning on me locally. Y'all out of towners could never. But local niggas, oh my God, they will destroy your sense of self-esteem if they get a good joan on. I'm sure some of these cops went home and hung their heads. Make no question about it. So anyway, it's going to be a variety of tones. So just be prepared. So I say that to say it's okay to laugh at some of this shit, but the situation is not funny. But my folks getting these jokes off amidst the brutality and the harassment is indeed funny because we strong like that. So anyway, Will, at your leisure, let's go ahead and roll these joints one at a time.
Like, I just came outside. I've been inside all day. It is fucking border patrol on every fucking corner in Northeast. Stay inside, stay safe. be smart. I wouldn't even advise you to jaywalk at this point. Like, it's not safe. Stay safe. Be smart. Talking to the men, okay? Man, it's Border Patrol on every corner in Northeast.
Real life. The fucking FBI, bro. Every day. Hey, get your hand off your gun, bro, please. Feel my life. Black Lives Matter, bro. Black Lives Matter, bro. Real life, bro. Black Lives fucking matter. They don't do this shit in Georgetown or no white ass neighborhood. Hey, did y'all jump out of Georgetown today? Yeah, why y'all don't go up to white neighborhoods and shit? Georgetown today. Why y'all don't go up like Georgetown or something like that? Why y'all keep fucking with us though? Did y'all jump out of this shit is not right. This shit is not right. This shit like World War III or something. Like, this shit is crazy. Nah, cause we gotta record this shit. Every time y'all come, it's a must record. Nah, for real. Y'all is super scary. Y'all need to leave us alone, please. I'm going home. I'm going home. Well, I'm talking about in general. Y'all come every day, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. But you swear to leak out your system though. You didn't get my message? I need your time. Alright. He got a whole headset on, bro. Like he in Call of Duty. Like, what the fuck? This shit is scary. That shit real read FBI. This is not regular police. Thank you, Donald Trump. You see what you got us going through? That might be the police in that jump. Fuck yeah. This might be the police right here too. Fuck yeah, it is the police.
Oh, that's all of them? I thought we had a couple more. We ain't had no more? Am I tripping? It was those three?
Enforcement along the streets. One man who lives neighbors in the district are sounding off about the rising threat of a federal takeover. There's been an increase of federal law enforcement along the streets. One man who lives in Deanwood told us about his encounter with those federal officers last night. Here's Melissa Kim.
We spoke to people who live here in this Deanwood community who tell me they were stunned to find at least 30 federal officers on this block just after midnight.
We saw like 10 cars or more coming over the hill.
Tyree Stevenson, better known to this community as Gotti, is a third-generation Deanwood resident, and the federal presence he saw in the early morning hours in this stretch of 48th Street Northeast was unusual.
When they get out, they hop out. They hop out with their guns in their hand, telling people, come here, come here, come here, come here. It's kind of scary, you know what I'm saying? Before you know it, then shots went off. Pow, 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 pow. Right here. You know what I'm saying? We down here.
Ring camera video from the neighborhood shows flashing lights in an alleyway.
Sorry, kind of suspected that, you know, there was going to be activity in the city. I just didn't expect they were going to come all the way over Deanwood.
Anthony Lorenzo Green represents part of Deanwood as its ANC commissioner. He was woken up to all of the unexpected noise.
There's no concern for my community when you're pulling up firing shots at people.
He walked with us from his home to where this all happened. He says his neighbors felt confused and scared.
We were all sitting out here like, why was all this necessary?
He feels as a lifelong D.C. resident, the Trump administration's actions are too much.
And I feel that the federal government has overstepped what we feel is their limits, right? There should be an understanding between the District of Columbia and the federal government about how we govern ourselves. We have home rule for a reason.
Because of its safety and crime the president is worried about, Green has some thoughts to add to his agenda.
Or is he going to come pick up our trash next? Is that what I should expect? We do have areas with high grass that he can cut. I have infrastructure problems in my community. Can he put some funding on the table for that?
He shouldn't be making those kind of decisions. That's more like a dictator.
Gotti thinks that if this is the way the administration is going to continue,
everybody now is in like a big old gumbo pot of, you know what I'm saying? You don't know what's in it. You know what I'm saying? That's all. You don't know what you're going to get served.
That was Melissa Kidd reporting with that story. Well, last night, MTPD participated in a federal task force operation just after midnight during an attempted stop-off Metro property. A suspect produced a firearm. An MTPD officer discharged their weapon in response, but the suspect was not struck. No one was injured, including that officer. 2 people were taken into custody. 2 firearms were recovered. We're told that it remains under investigation.
We got 1 husky. We got 1 husky. One adult husky right here. And we got 1 exotic bully. We got exotic bully. We got a German Shepherd. Got to get brothers over here. We got a Yorkie right here. Little Yorkie right here. This is like a little Shih Tzu. This like a little Shih Tzu. I'm born.
Yeah, I'm just asking, like, would you?
What's up? Take a good picture, man. Like a dumbass Frenchie. Like a dumbass
But like, nah, for real though, like.
So they pulled her over, opened up her back door, took her. So they pulled her over, opened up her back door, took her paper tags out the window, ran her information, told her to get out the car. She said no. They opened up her car door, told her, let's go. And they placed her in handcuffs. Baby girl going to jail. Y'all better check on y'all folks.
Gang, I included that last video because the context is a little unknown. I don't know what the reason that the woman driver was initially pulled over. I don't know what she was accused of doing. I'm going off the videographer's, interpretation of the scenario. But if that lady was indeed pulled out of her car for having paper tags, expired registration, any of that shit, there's no reason for folks to get hauled off in handcuffs. However, this is the amount of powers that this president has allowed local police departments to take advantage of, specifically Metropolitan Police. And whereas people are justifiably concerned with the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, the U.S. Park Police, the DEA, and the National Guard, I'm probably forgetting a couple agencies out here that are authorized to do stops on civilians here in D.C. Some of that is not wholesale, unprecedented, and unheard of. But you even hear the surprise from some city residents. Like you heard the surprise from the young kids who had jokes, by the way. The humor of the people of this region will forever be undefeated. But the kid was like, yo, it's the FBI out here. This not regular police out here. No, this is a difference, right? And the people are experiencing that right away. So the same day that Trump made this announcement, you can assume that the folks them absolutely took to the streets. And I do want us to check out some of those scenes. Do me a favor, if you haven't already liked the video, please like the video. But before we look at these protest scenes, I wanted to say something real quick, right? Especially to the point of the sister being carried away in handcuffs for seemingly a traffic infraction or something very minor, right? This is why when our immigrant neighbors are being kidnapped and deported and being held without due process, are being taken, abducted along with their children from courthouses and from their jobs and from their homes, and literally abducted off the street. This is the reason why Black people need to stand in solidarity and be like, fuck that shit. Because this right here, although not wholesale brand new for the Black community of Washington, D.C., I know Los Angeles Black and Hispanic community is not 100% new to the shit that ICE and Homeland Security are pulling right now, but we've seen some variation of it courtesy of the local police departments, LAPD, Los Angeles County Sheriffs, and of course, Metropolitan Police here in Washington, D.C. The shift in the acceleration in the outright denial of legal processes and I know constitutional and civil rights to the extent that we ever had them, but now it's like, oh, you niggas literally never had these shits. Like, we don't need to abide by any of these things that are so-called laws, says the Trump administration, right? So for folks that were saying this is not our fight when it was coming to folks from the Caribbean, African folks, most notably Latinos, being abducted and held in ICE detention, being kidnapped, being brutalized, which, by the way, is still happening very much every single day in every single state around this country. This is the reason why we have to literally stand together, okay? Our little petty differences, be them cultural, be them anti-Blackness, be them anti-Latino, like, now ain't the time. Okay, now ain't the time for that bullshit. Now is the time for us to unite and stand shoulder to shoulder, because at the end of the day, there are more of us than there are of them. Okay, the state can only do what we allow them to do. We can stop them, I believe, at any time, so long as our numbers and our organization is up to snuff. And some might be like, well, we're not even close to being organized. That may be true, but that doesn't mean don't fight. that doesn't mean don't show up. That doesn't mean don't start strategizing and planning. Even if you yourself are not in part of organization, it is important for you to start thinking about what some of these change in policies or these harshening of these policies, what does this mean for you and your family? What are the things? I mean, I absolutely believe it's time to bug in, right? If you got to, if we can't fucking bug out, and we might have to bug out, we got to bug in, y'all. Start checking out the prepper streams, y'all. And I know a lot of them niggas is white. and sometimes the white preppers are prepping at a budget level that, you know, the non-white working class people may not be able to come up with. But at the same time, incrementalism when it comes to this prepper stuff: food, water, shelter, first aid, and fire. Even maybe throw communications in there. Get your basics covered. It's time to start making those types of personal assessments out here, because you don't know what this fight is about to look like, y'all. This nigga's only been in office. He's only been in office since January. God damn. And to be clear, the harassment of Washingtonians, that was on day one, beloveds. That was on El Día Uno, right? Like what, or primero, like, let me get my Spanish right. But that was on day one. There is at minimum 30 more days of this federal occupation of Washington, D.C. legally allowed. It can be reauthorized should Congress, I think by a 2/3 majority, reapprove the president and I guess the Department of Justice overseeing D.C.'s police department, etc. But what is this going to look like in 2 weeks? What is this going to look like when the kids go back to school, which is going to be very soon? When there are going to be thousands of young Black kids walking to and from school, having to encounter armed National Guardsmen, having to encounter armed federal agents who are, this is some Black code shit. And the new, relatively new DC city crime bill also is some Black code shit. Look how the Democrats and Republicans come together on certain issues when it comes to keeping niggas in check. The children are going to have to produce IDs to validate that they're allowed to be in their city where the fuck they're supposed to be. Whereas I'm sure a lot of these so-called federal agents, who my guess is many of whom are probably not going to be properly vetted, certified law enforcement agents, right? As I talked about a little bit on my last show, Trump is purging the FBI. Who the fuck is out here riding around the streets wearing FBI flak jackets? if Trump is pushing so-called experienced agents out the door. And fuck them too, by the way, to be clear. It's fuck the experienced FBI agents also. But these newbies, oh no, these are the junior Klansmen that they got to sign on to the forces with all these brand new signing bonuses and other sort of enticements for the white working class who has dreamed of occupying and beating a black population probably their whole lives. They used to hear their granddaddy talk about going to the lynchings and shit. And they have nostalgia for that. They're wistful for those days. Make America great again. That's exactly how they interpret that. So anyway, I want us to take a look here. Do me a favor. Did I already tell y'all to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and subscribe and shout out to anyone that's in here on some bullshit. Shout out to you. And shout out to the folks, our wonderful Fire Fam, our wonderful mods, and everyone that is watching us both here on YouTube and on Twitch. Big up Twitch. So let's take a look at some of the protest scenes that were out in force on August the 11th when Trump made his announcement. And you guys may or may not know this, but Washington, D.C. over the past maybe 30 years almost at this point, 25 years, has been the city that has one of, if not the leading city that has experienced gentrification at an alarming rate. Okay. Washington, D.C. has depopulated or continues to depopulate its black residents by gentrification, of course, by forcing people to move, by hiking up property taxes, water bills, all the usual tactics to force black, longtime generational black residents out to allow the whites in. However, I don't know. I think some of these whites that have come in might be with the shits. A few of them, just a handful. So I think the demographic shift here, it may affect how Trump's plan might go, because y'all, and we're going to hear from black people. I just want to say this real quick. Baseline, when it comes to white folks in America, even the ones, that are the John Brown, the John Brown Brigade. So we got the John Brown Brigade on one end, and we got the Trump MAGA Klans people on the other end. Okay. The through line for white folks in America, regardless of the political ideology, their baseline is some version of "don't tread on me." It is absolutely twisted sister. We're not going to take it. Okay. It is every white, even our friends. Okay. All of them have, we're not going to take it. No, when they gonna take it, they all got that in them. Okay, it just depends. Now, the MAGA extremist version of the baseline "don't tread on me," they will get rowdy with that shit immediately. They don't give a fuck. You saw January 6th, I saw January 6th. Okay, like that was we're not gonna take it, right? The John Brown Brigade, however, they got it in them. But they keep it at bay. By and large, they want to choose civility, and as a famous bumper sticker on many a progressive white vehicle has said, they want to choose civility. So they try to, we'll just show up at the protest, blah 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 blah. But they got that "don't tread on me" shit in them also. Okay, and I don't fear. I hope Trump has activated the "don't tread on me," but for the John Brown Brigade in Washington, D.C., because either way, you shouldn't piss white people off because they get violent. It really don't matter what end of the political spectrum they are. The speed of which they come to violence does depend on what end of the political spectrum they are. And I think Trump might have pressed some correct buttons. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. So anyway, we can run all of those protest scene clips right now.
So they pulled her.
Justice, no peace. Okay, y'all, but the kids is taken to the streets. This all DC. If we don't get no justice, they're not going to get any peace. My name is Nene Taylor, NeetetayLor. I'm a co-founder of Free DC Project, and I'm also the executive director and co-founder of Harriet's Wildest Dream. The only violence that's happening in D.C. right now is the violence against our communities that this president is directing. For 4 nights straight, the president has been trying to provoke violence here, right here, in the black communities and in the brown communities, having ICE kidnap our neighbors, having the black community be harassed and profiled and want a response. We say, hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we won't go.
When we say
language of occupation, not the language of liberation. We're not going to be occupied. We will not be erased. We will not let our streets become the proving ground for some fucking dictator. This is our city. This is our home. The fight for DC is a fight for racial justice. The fight for DC is the fight for democracy itself. And I promise you guys, when we fight together, when I look at, I see the breadth and depth of people from different backgrounds. When we fight together, we will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win.
Single day that we are under occupation, I want everyone to come out at 8 p.m., step out from your house, and I want you to make noise. Can you do that? For every single day we are under occupation, I want you to step outside of your home at 8 p.m. and make some noise until about 8:05 p.m. And we're going to do that every day. We're going to get trained up, and we are, make no mistake about it, these people think that they hold all the power. They have no idea how much power we have. The power is always with the people. They cannot do this without our consent.
100%. They cannot do this without our consent. And I understand that the situation does look a little scary in the immediate term. But again, this only works if people are compliant. And to be clear, I appreciate Muriel Bowser taking a bit of a coward's approach to this, because it exposes again that the Black misleadership is never going to look out for the best interest of the community. And the sooner that the Black community at large understands this and accepts it, you know what I'm saying? We have to stop looking to Black Democrats or Black elected, specifically Black members of the duopoly, Republican, Democrat, etc. We can look to Black people coming from third party organizations or third party political parties, I guess is the right word I'm trying to desperately search for. Well, that's fine. But Black Democrats, Black Republicans, the solution and the answer and the fight is absolutely not going to come from them. So thank you, Muriel Bowser, for being a coward. I hope the whole city saw that and sees it. Okay. And I actually misspoke a little bit this morning on Black Liberation Media, because I think, well, first of all, I was very asleep when Ear Doctor called me, and I was like, oh, let me wake up and get down here and turn shit on. So, but when I hopped on, I think Kamau and Ear Doctor were looking at me like, well, what's going on? I'm like, nigga, I don't live in DC, to be clear. And I said, you know, that kind of matters because all of the so-called federal ramping up is happening in DC proper, which I guess technically it is. But that was actually that was the wrong phrasing of words coming from me, because silly me, like it's in DC right now. What's to stop these motherfuckers from expanding very, very easily across the Maryland borders, across the borders of Northern Virginia? Prince George's County and Montgomery County, if I'm not mistaken, in Maryland, are both sanctuary counties, right? Immigrants have some rights here. For example, there are a handful of towns in Prince George's County in which people who are not citizens can vote in local elections, not in federal elections. They can't vote for Congress. They can't vote for the president, but where they can vote for city council, they can vote for local immediate representation. They have the right to do that, right? I'm fine with PG County doing that. However, I'm sure policies like that make Prince George's County a target for this administration. So what's to stop National Guard? What's to stop Trump from calling up the Maryland National Guard and making them deploy, right? He did it with the California National Guard, just, you know, without the authorization from the California governor. Trump is doing what he wants out here, y'all. There ain't no fucking rules, no rules. And on some level, we need to behave as though we are ungovernable. But on the other hand, I guess in the immediate interest of survival, and let me send this out to Washingtonians, truly of all ages, YNs, ONs, motherfucking MANs. Listen, y'all, it's P's and Q's time for the next 30 days, Washingtonians and DMVers, especially if you have to come to the district for work, or for any fucking thing, to visit your people, check on your people, do anything. If you got to come to the city for any reason, or you moving about within the city limits and you are Negro, well, let me rephrase, and you are visibly non-white, especially Negro, P's and Q's, kids. If you riding dirty, don't. If you riding dirty, do not. Leave the guns and the crack and the knives at home, okay? Donald Trump is on the microphone, like bum rushing and pushing, snatching and taxing, and the Graham don't understand why brothers don't be like, no, all of your shit. And listen, we know that DC has some weed laws. All right, proceed with caution. That's all I'm gonna say. But if you have a tendency to carry the pistol, don't do it. Not in the district, not now. And I hope this is an opportunity, honestly. Now, so I'm watching the news reports, and the way the news is trying to frame this is though Washington residents are split, district residents are split about these Trump federalization policies, that some people are absolutely horrified because they see it as an authoritarian overreach, and others are glad to see the extra help of law enforcement. We need more police in our neighborhoods because the crime is out of they're trying to frame it that way. I can't necessarily get a good read on which position is in the majority. But what's important here, y'all, is that we try to educate our folks and make sure that, number one, like I said, we survive these next 30 days. Trump has already basically said that these motherfuckers have got the green light to do whatever they want to, whatever they can, to be as brutal as possible, basically. That's how I read some of the things that Trump said at that press conference, of which, by the way, he called on no local DC media. And I said, oh, listen, look at this nigga. But also, y'all, I wanted to point out there are protests going on around the country, and a lot of people don't recognize it. Social media apps such as TikTok, especially, shame on fucking TikTok. I don't know how much YouTube is doing it, or to the extent that they're suppressing content coming out of downtown Los Angeles in particular, and coming out of Portland in particular. I still haven't organically encountered any of the Portland videos, and I know that shit is going down at PDX. But in DTLA, downtown Los Angeles, folks there have been staging 24-hour protests. If you're searching on social media, particularly, I would say on TikTok, I'd say search the 24-hour music festival Los Angeles. But apparently TikTok got wise to the fact that creators were referring to these protests as music festivals and have blocked the hashtag for festival. I'm not exactly clear here, but there is obvious suppression about these actions. Not only suppression coming from the national media level, like I'm sure you've probably not seen these protests in LA covered barely, if at all, on cable news, and of course local news is not doing a good job of amplifying the facts. So that a lot of shit is going down in Los Angeles. But Newark, New Jersey, I also encountered this clip from Newark, New Jersey, of which I was very encouraged. And to be clear here, y'all, I have the utmost confidence in Black people's ability to be able to stand up and fight for ourselves. I have the utmost ability in Black people's fortitude to be able to defend ourselves and advance our own interest and our own agenda. I have a lot less faith in the whites. Okay, like I do not have the faith that the whites are going to stand up and do the right thing here, because if the whites did the right thing, maybe we wouldn't be where we are. Let me put it this way: too few whites do the right thing. Let me put it that way. So when I see the whites coming with the correct energy and the correct levels of enthusiasm, and the correct understanding of the societal and cultural power and currency that they hold, and that the ways that they need to weaponize that currency. Like, nigga, you are white out here. They probably won't shoot you. They probably won't shoot you, Sally. Go forth and be white. But anyway, scenes from Newark, New Jersey, I was quite happy to see. And I'm just going to let these scenes speak for themselves. But just know that folks were down at the ICE detention confronting the alleged ICE and Homeland Security agents, and they did it in spectacular form. Well, let's take a look.
Fuck out of here! You're a fucking disgrace to humanity! You fucking scared? More fucking tear gas! Fire it, pussy! All of you! Shoot this one! Six, back up! Back up!
When the white woman told the ICE agent to shoot himself, oh my God. It brought a tear to my eye. Newark, you better come through Soprano land. Yo, you better come through the bricks. What's going on? What's up, Red Man? What's going on, Newark, New Jersey? I love it. Well, we might have to play that again. Actually, I really appreciate it. Did you guys hear the synchronicity, the unison on the Nazi scum chant? Did you guys hear that? They were on rhythm. They were on beat. It was glorious, beautiful. And told him to shoot the tear gas canister, you pussy. Yes. Scott, that is how you talk to the pigs. Go on. Well, let's run that back. I rather enjoyed that clip. Let's see that again.
Nazi scum! 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 Shame! Nazi scum! Shame! Nazi scum! Nazi scum! Shame! Nazi scum! Shame! Nazi scum! Run away! Shame! Nazi scum! Nazi scum! Shame! Nazi scum! Shame! Nazi scum! Shame! You're fucking scared! What's wrong with you? You're fucking scared! You're fucking scared! First one to pull a taser! What a bitch! Fuck out of here! You're a fucking disgrace to humanity! You fucking scared? More fucking tear gas! Fire it, pussy! All of you! Shoot this one! Six, back up! Back up!
Let me tell you guys something. I think it's very important that we share scenes like this. We share scenes of the people willing to physically confront the Gestapo, because this content is being suppressed everywhere. It's being suppressed on mainstream legacy outlets. It's being suppressed on social media. You can find it, but you have to actively be looking for it, right? Because it's not popping up on people's For You pages. You really have to be dialed into this, right? So for those of us that are dialed in, please share this content. Now, I'm not just talking about BIDWKB, but share these scenes as you find them on your socials. Share them with your networks, with your people, with your family, with your friends, with your, not your coworkers. Everybody coworkers ain't fucking cool, and everybody friends and family ain't cool neither. But for people that are afraid when they hear Trump's new proclamations, his announcements, his policies, people that are feeling fearful and are like, we are slipping into authoritarian regime, and people sometimes feel helpless. You got to show these videos. You got to show that that there are people out here not only fighting back, but willing to fight back with fists, willing to get up in these motherfuckers' faces and call them exactly what they are directly, right? And that shit has an effect, right? A lot of these new ICE agents, these federal agents, these Homeland Security goons, these hired bounty hunters, they're not ready to be called, every name in the book by everybody. Like that not everyone is built for that shit, to be taken relentless verbal abuse, at minimum, right? And they deserve it. They deserve every word. They deserve every ounce of vitriol that comes their way. But let's not pretend as though these are brave folks to begin with. That is the federal agents, the Homeland Security folks. They're cowards. They're pussies. That's why they cover their fucking faces with masks. That's why they don't want nobody to know who they are. That's why they have taken every precaution to try to conceal their identities, because they don't want to be outed for the Nazi goons that they really are, right? Many of whom I would imagine are technically not actually federal agents. They are out there with minimal, if any, training whatsoever. The Trump administration and the Homeland Security is just giving these motherfuckers guns and turning them loose on the streets. And that's how people get hurt. Okay. That is how civilians will get hurt. But to be fucking clear, okay, the people of this country are not going to tolerate a lot of this bullshit coming from the feds. Not with 440 million pew-pews in circulation. I don't see that happening, y'all. This is what I mean. Like, we are quite frankly at a precipice. I honestly think we've crossed it. I feel like that threshold has actually been crossed, and we are kind of in the beginning developing stages of it. But I feel as though we may not be at a point where we can turn back. And I don't know if the Trump administration fully understands what they have done, the level of the fight that they have actually picked, not just with Washington, D.C., but with Los Angeles and many other cities. And to be clear here, if you are watching this and you are not in D.C. and you are not in L.A., you are in Baltimore, you are in Oakland, you are in Detroit, you are in New York City, you are in Chicago. Some of the cities that Trump named off when announcing his, oppression day on August 11th. Some of the cities he named off, y'all next. Okay. So not only is it important that if you live in these cities, or if you live in a city that is likely to be targeted or has already been targeted by the Trump administration in accelerated ways, the time to start figuring out what to do when the National Guard shows up to run wild on you, the time to start figuring that out is right fucking now. Okay. Now is the time to start that plan. Now is the time to start seeking out those mutual aid organizations. Now is the time to start figuring out what that legal aid, looks like if you are a person to be on the front lines. And if you are not a person on the front line, such as myself, it's time for us to start figuring out and stepping fully into what our role is going to be in this fight, y'all, because it's a fight. It's a fight. It's been a constant fight. I understand that. It's been a constant lifetime struggle, but baby, we have entered a new chapter. We've entered a new development in this fight. So now it's our turn, and our turn to step up is now. And I stand by everything I said. Everything they got, you try to get. And when I say they, I mean the federales, right? Whilst the Second Amendment is in existence, and I guess being adhered to more or less, take advantage. Get them while the getting's good. Don't fuck around with it. Do it expeditiously. And I'm not suggesting that we start capping at the feds. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying the time to fully actualize all the rights allegedly bestowed upon us by this Constitution while they are still available to be, to taken advantage of. It's time to do it. Do not delay. Don't delay. And again, if you live in a red state in particular, shit, you better take that income tax money and go get you a nice Thule, because it's not for play. And also, like I said, in a country that is as armed as this one, and I said this on the morning show because, again, my memory does go back that far. There was a spate of time from the mid to late 80s to the early to mid 90s in which some DC polices was taking ginormous L's on the street. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, okay? Like this city is not new to that. They've done that in the past. And I think if the provocation conditions are correct, that shit could start again. Okay, it could. I'm not calling for that. I'm just telling you what the reality is, what the facts are. Negroes in this area are not docile. Okay, they are not compliant. Please don't take Mayor Muriel Bowser as a representation of the average ordinary Negro from this area. This is not a compliant bunch. This is the folks that will pop back at the cops verbally and otherwise. Okay, I don't think Donald Trump fully understands what he may have started in the nation's capital, but we will see as the time develops and everything unfolds. In the interim, please follow organizations like Free DC, like Harriet's Wildest Dreams, like DMV Black Lives, of course, like the Black Alliance for Peace, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Baltimore chapters. Follow them youngins. PACA, who else we got out here? PSL. Like, pay attention, get locked in, especially if you're watching from outside of the area, from in and outside. They came for the migrants. They came for the Negro Washingtonians. I hope you said something. I hope you do something, right? How far down on the list are you? We take a quick little break here, everybody. I appreciate all that are tuned in. Allegedly, there are over 200 of you watching live right now. So please do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, engage with the content. I appreciate your eyeballs. I saw a couple of boxes rolling up. If you like what you're seeing here, you could always shoot up some support. Can I please say thank you to Patrick S. for an incredibly generous donation to cap off our fundraising efforts. I appreciate you guys. We got about a third of the way to our goal. Fell a little bit short of our goal, but I appreciate all that offered and contributed material support and continue to show up here and engage in our chat, engage in our comments, cuss out the trolls, all actions indeed are appreciated. So what's up, Will? Who we got?
I like when they drag the trolls too. I like that. So we got a couple. Shout out to Afraid Not gifting the membership. We appreciate you. Shout out to the God, the Philly Sun, Infinite Content. He said, Kim, don't complicate things. The real reason cops pulls it off is simple, because cops ain't shit. Simple as that.
Touche.
And also he said, they're planning on doing a DC plan in Philly, San Fran, Oakland, B-More, Chicago, St. Louis, and NYC. Stay tuned. So the DC plan is getting popular. So, and we definitely had over 300 people, and now we got like 82, which is weird. I don't know what's definitely over 300 people that were in the live. So keep hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, keep plucking these people's nerves. So we appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Ancient Crustacean. So you want to go follow DMV Black Lives. Follow a sister named April Goggins. I think April is still out here doing tremendous work. Sister Afeni is out here doing tremendous work. Again, Black Alliance for Peace, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. What does PACA stand for, everybody? Shit. I know the CA is Community Action. Pan-African Community Action. Is that what PACA stands for? I'm sorry, PACA. My bad. It's not intentional. I smoke a lot of reefers. Who else? Harriet's Wildest Dreams is a good one. There are organizations out here. So and you know, we will actually maybe run down some of that tomorrow on the Remix Morning Show, Black Liberation Media, 8 a.m. Eastern time. But thank you, Ancient Crustacean, for your inquiry. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Pan-African Community Action. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. No, it's serious. And Infinite Content, thank you so much for your comment. Listen, I've already seen the videos from the Philly YNs talking about the difficulty that Homeland Security might have trying to execute, you know, such operations in the city of brotherly love. And again, I hope y'all. So we know in the summer times, usually it's the YNs busting at each other, right? From Chicago to Baltimore to DC, it's usually a very unfortunate situation. I'm hoping that these young our little young brothers and sisters, our little young recklesses, some of them understand who your real enemy is. Like your enemy, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, YNs, your enemy is not the other YN from the other block or from the other side of town. Those aren't your fucking enemies. The enemies are the ones harassing you, harassing your friends, harassing your community, terrorizing you. So I'm hoping that, you know, the YNs put the, I won't say put the pew-pews down, but put them down against each other. Okay? Like the time to ante up and get the shit together is right now, kids. Right. Identify who the real threats are. And it's not the other little niggas from across the way. Okay. That's not who the real threat is. Okay. It's them alphabet boys. So let's grow up a little bit here and instruct the kids. If you got little youngins in your proximity, in your orbit, instruct them little niggas. What the fuck is going on out here? This shit ain't a game. Especially if you know they a little wild out here, they might tote that thing. Instruct them about who is the real threat. Existential. Thank you so much, Existential. We appreciate your super chat support. Thank you so much. And shout out to everyone that is a channel member and a part of the Fire Fam officially through the You in the Tube, patreon.com/BIDWKB. And of course, BIDWKB at all the cash platforms, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. So probably not coincidentally, at the same time, really on the same day, August 11th, that the same day Donald Trump announced his federal takeover of the DC police and his desire to make DC safe again in spite of 30-year lows for violent crime statistics, and in spite the city looking pretty sparkly. I don't know what the fuck Donald Trump be talking about. He talking about all the slums and shit, nigga. Okay, it's just not Mar-a-Lago, but all right. Anyway, one of the things that happened, not serendipitously, Benjamin Netanyahu, or rather, should I say, Benjamin Satanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. On the same day, Trump announced the federalization of Washington, D.C. in order to save the district. Netanyahu announced that the Israeli occupational forces will, in fact, be taking over the Gaza Strip, starting in Gaza City, in order to, quote, make Gaza safe again, which is wild because I think Gaza would be amazingly safe if it weren't being constantly bombed by the Israeli military, and if innocent civilians, including women and children, weren't being sniped at while trying to secure humanitarian aid, because people in Gaza are experiencing a Israeli created humanitarian crisis in the form of starvation, where hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions at this point, are at risk for literally starving to death because Israel refuses to allow sufficient amounts of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. So it's fuck them, okay? Just so we're clear. But in fact, in spite of the fact that Israel continues to defy international law, defy humanitarian law, defy calls for a cease to their genocidal actions, they continue to swing for the fucking fences. Israel is like, oh, you thought we were doing war crimes before. Oh, we can show you how much more war crimes that we can easily do. And one of the many long list of war crimes that Israel has done and continues to do is target members of the media, members of the press. And in fact, there was a precision missile strike, munition strike, I'm not clear 100%, on a obviously clearly marked press tent full of Al Jazeera journalists. And I believe this did happen in Gaza City or in the proximity of Gaza City. And one of the journalists that was killed was a man named Anas al-Sharif. Anas al-Sharif has been broadcasting the atrocities and been reporting for Al Jazeera since the beginning of the genocide from October 7th, right? And in spite of Israeli forces targeting members of his family and killing them, including his father, Anas continued his very, very brave and courageous reporting in the face of clear and targeted threats to his own life. Well, now the Israeli forces succeeded in their assassination of yet another Palestinian journalist. The number of journalists killed total has numbered in the hundreds. I think it's around 200, give or take 40 or 50, right? An unprecedented number of press and media that have been intentionally targeted by the Israeli state and flat out assassinated. These are absolutely war crimes. But this man, Anas, knew they were going to die. And upon the news of his assassination, of his martyrdom, right? Let me say it right. Upon the news of his martyrdom being announced, a video from his social media was released because this man knew that he was going to be killed by Israel. For what? Why was he killed? Oh, for reporting the truth, for reporting about what's happening to his people, for reporting about what has happened to him personally and reporting about what's happening to his family. Yes, that is reason for him to die per the state of Israel. So I want us to look at the statement that this man left for us, for all of us, okay? And we need to hear it because I don't think we hear enough from Palestinians. Again, if you're not dialed into this issue on your social media and you are simply watching cable news or even some podcasts, right? Some of the, I mean, they don't ever touch on it, only when it gets hot and it flares up. But this is something, again, we need to be in touch with our own humanity and not look away from what's happening in Gaza. So I want us to play this man's final statement that he wanted us to hear upon his execution because he knew it was coming. So let's go ahead and hear from Anas.
This is my will and my final message. If these words reach you, know that Israel has succeeded in killing me and silencing my voice. First, peace be upon you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy and blessings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows I gave every effort and all my strength to be a support and a voice for my people. Ever since I opened my eyes to life in the alleys and streets of the Jabaliya refugee camp, my hope was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would extend my life so I could return with my family and loved ones to our original town of occupied Asqalan, Al-Majdal. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will came first, and His decree is final. I have lived through pain in all its details, tasted suffering and loss many times, yet I never once hesitated to convey the truth as it is without distortion or falsification, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may bear witness against those who stayed silent, those who accepted our killing, those who choked our breath, and whose hearts were unmoved by the scattered remains of our children and women, doing nothing to stop the massacre that our people have faced for more than a year and a half. I entrust you with Palestine, the jewel in the crown of the Muslim world, the heartbeat of every free person in this world. I entrust you with its people, with its wronged and innocent children who never had the time to dream or live in safety and peace. Their pure bodies were crushed under thousands of tons of Israeli bombs and missiles, torn apart and scattered across the walls. I urge you not to let chains silence you, nor borders restrain you. Be bridges toward the liberation of the land and its people until the sun of dignity and freedom rises over our stolen homeland. I entrust you to take care of my family. I entrust you with my beloved daughter, Sham, the light of my eyes, whom I never got the chance to watch grow up as I had dreamed. I entrust you with my dear son, Salah, whom I had wished to support and accompany through life until he grew strong enough to carry my burden and continue the mission. I entrust you with my beloved mother, whose blessed prayers brought me to where I am, whose supplications were my fortress, and whose light guided my path. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants her strength and rewards her on my behalf with the best of rewards. I also entrust you with my lifelong companion, my beloved wife, Salah Bayan, from whom the war separated me for many long days and months, yet she remained faithful to our bond, steadfast as the trunk of an olive tree that does not bend, patient, trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and carrying the responsibility in my absence with all her strength and faith. I urge you to stand by them, to be their support after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I die steadfast upon my principles. I testify before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I am content with His decree, certain of meeting Him, and assured that what is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is better and everlasting. Oh Allah, accept me among the martyrs and forgive my past and future sins, and make my blood a light that illuminates the path of freedom for my people and my family. Forgive me if I have fallen short, and pray for me with mercy, for I have kept my promise and never changed or betrayed it. Do not forget Gaza, and do not forget me in your sincere prayers for forgiveness and acceptance.
The final words of Al Jazeera journalist Anas al-Sharif, who was killed by Israeli forces when his tent that was clearly marked press was struck by a targeted, precise munitions attack. And he was obliterated. And to be clear, I mean, Palestinians are more than mere numbers, okay? This man was a husband, he was a son, he was a father. His wife, his mother, and his children are going to miss him terribly. And despite Palestinians not being numbers, the numbers are staggering. There are likely hundreds of thousands of Palestinians buried under the rubble right now. Israel is complicit in genocide. They are complicit in ethnic cleansing. They are complicit in a litany of war crimes. Part of the reason why Israel wants to move into Gaza City and start clearing shit out is because they want to get rid of the evidence. They want to get the Gaza Strip occupied, and they want to start cleaning the shit up because they don't want the world to know the full extent of the atrocities that they have waged against the civilians of Palestine. And for all the talk about we want to extinguish Hamas, you're never going to extinguish Hamas, because the Palestinian people, the ones that will ultimately survive this genocide, will never forget what has been done to them. And if Israel thinks that they're going to live in peace, if anybody thinks that there's going to be some two-state solution to come out of this, we can forget it. Okay. The ones that will not know peace will be the Zionists. They won't ever know peace for this. I can't even call it an offense against humanity. It is a sin against humanity what has been allowed to go on. And by the way, Israel is complicit in the genocide and the starvation that's happening in South Sudan. The West absolutely got its tentacles into the humanitarian crisis and genocide that's happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Like, y'all, part of the thing that literally breaks my heart about Palestine, aside from the starvation, the genocide, the targeting by the most powerful military in the region against literal civilians, women, children, disabled folks, and the elderly. The thing that breaks my heart about these scenes coming out of Palestine and knowing what's going on there is that I can very easily and clearly see it happening to us right here. Like the shit that's going on in Palestine right now, I don't think it's such a far-fetched idea that these things will become more pronounced right here in the United States against migrant communities, against Black communities, against LGBTQ communities, against leftist white communities themselves. Y'all not whiting right, says Trump. y'all whiting too radically on the left. That you must be stopped. From the checkpoints that Palestinians have to endure by the occupying forces of Israel in their own lands, CC Washington, D.C. right now, from the unchecked violence and brutality that comes from the Israeli forces against Palestinians, see very clearly Donald Trump pardoning 2 Metropolitan D.C. police officers who were both convicted of murdering Karan Hilton Brown, a D.C. resident. They were convicted, these 2 cops. Let me say it again. They were convicted, these 2 cops, of murdering a civilian, a citizen of Washington, D.C. Donald Trump pardoned them. And I believe they're getting their jobs back if they haven't already been reinstated, right? So again, no penalty for law enforcement in Israel and in the United States for murdering civilians that happen to be of the wrong hue, right? Of the wrong race, of the demographic that's not in charge, right? The demolition of Palestinians' homelands, the forced displacement of the Palestinians. That is absolutely gentrification. That is happening not just in DC, but cities across this country. But sticking to the analogy to DC here, yes, the gentrification is ethnic cleansing. Is it fucking not? Ethnic cleansing sends the, ethnic cleansing people, I guess, at gunpoint. All the shit, y'all. It's all the same things. And I credit very much our comrades at Black Liberation Media for educating and presenting information in such a way that I'm able to comprehend and be able to see these parallels, right? That's what the organizers at Black Liberation Media keep trying to tell us. They want us to see the parallels, nigga. They want us to make the connections. I see the connections. Something must be done before we get to this to the point that Gaza is now, or to the point that Gaza was on October 7th. We don't want to be enduring multi generations of white supremacist suffering, right? Now is the time to fight back. The line in the sand has been drawn, y'all. It's on us. Are we gonna boogie? we gonna rock and fucking roll? Are we also not gonna take it? You know what I'm saying? We gonna fight the power. I think we ready to do that. So anywho, I want really quick, as it pertains to Anan al-Sharif, the martyr journalist from Al Jazeera, I hopefully would love to hear Western journalists, especially mainstream, well-known journalists, Anderson Cooper, whoever the fuck, say something. If you care about the practice and in the industry, and I guess the moral obligation that people who consider themselves journalists or reporters feel as a duty to bring literal information and truth to your community, to your folks, like if there are any Western journalists of prominence, especially, you need to be raising up your voice and condemning Israel. Every broadcast you get, anytime there's a camera on you and the microphone is on, if you call yourself a broadcaster or a bringer of news in any way, shape, or form, and you're not condemning the fucking outright assassinations and intention and targeted killings of people that are press and media and who are there to report the facts on the ground, go fuck yourself. You're not a journalist. You're a fucking influencer. You're a mouthpiece. You're a puppet. You're a tool. You don't stand for shit. You don't stand for truth and information. You stand for a check, and you stand to be a misguided representative of this failing colonial state, this capitalist state that is thrashing about to try to maintain its relevance and its survival. And if you don't speak up and use your voice to speak against all that shit, and you call yourself a journalist, a news person, nigga, I ain't been a working journalist in years, okay? But I still feel a moral and ethical obligation to my audience, as big or as small as it may be. I'm never going to lie to y'all. You understand? And I'm never going to just stand by and let some shit happen that especially offends me personally. Like, I'm absolutely going to loud up the things surrounding that. So our love and our solidarity and our sorrow goes out to Anas's family, to all the journalists that have lost their lives covering the genocide in Gaza. We love you. We see you. We appreciate your contribution. We hate that you are martyred, but we believe that hopefully you found paradise in heaven in spite of your life and your future being stolen from you by the Zionists. So we send love. Will, did I see any more boxes roll up before I say good night and chunk up the deuces? I see the...
Yep. We want to shout out William Reddish.
Thank you, William.
Thank you, good sir. We appreciate your super chat. And of course, Eccentric is just saying thank you. Yep. And William Reddish. Oh yeah. KB. Thanks to KB and the team.
Appreciate you. Appreciate all. Thank you guys. Hold on, I got burp. I don't like to burp in y'all's ear. That's rude. Not a rude burping all in your face. That's rude. So do me a favor, tune in tomorrow for the Remix Morning Show, Women's Wednesday edition, probably plus Kamau. 8 a.m. Eastern time on Black Liberation Media. If you're not already subscribed to BLM, please go over there and do so and set your bells and notifications. A quick housekeeping note. Housekeeping. Thursday for Classical Breakdown with myself and the Ear Doctor, we are allegedly going to have guests. Our guests are going to be the Musa and the Jacqueline the Pony. Look, man. Only reason I call Jacqueline the Pony and not a stallion because she's a little Shetland pony like me. We both 5 foot nothing, and we are small people. So shout out to Jackie Lukman, of course, and of course to Musa, because we're going to be talking about Black punk, Black metal, Black rock. Not the venture capitalist firm, but Blacks creating and defining rock and roll music, and the subgenres that spun out from that, punk and metal and the like. I'm very much looking forward to this. I don't know a whole lot about Black punk and about Black metal. So this is going to be an education for me as well. So please tune into Classical Breakdown Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So Musa and Jackie can school us. I'm gonna have a tiny contribution, but I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna be listening to the education that's going to be given, because obviously clearly Black people have created every genre of music to come off of this continent, off of this rotten colony. So add that to the list of Black musical contribution that we have given here. So join us Thursday for that. And on that note, thank you so much to Will and Molly. Please go follow Will and Molly on all the socials. Molly is Molly Shaw, SHAH, on a lot of places. Blue Sky, Twitter, and the like. And Will is Wealthland Cinema. Is that where you want Will people to follow you at? Will, WEALTHLYN Cinema.
Yep, that's it. Thank you. Wealthland Cinema and Peace That Surpasses.com. Check out my work and my merch and stuff like that. I got some stuff up there. Check it out.
Yes, y'all. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. You know what I'm saying? And on that note, thank you so much to Will and Molly. Thank you so much to the Fire Fam. Thank you so much to our fantastic moderators. I know you guys are putting work behind there. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. And we'll see y'all back here Friday, gang. Love you so much. Deuces, gang. Be safe out there. Be careful, nigga. It's real now. Bye, y'all. See ya.